Welcome back. In the last session, we were discussing about module 2, that is limits, widths and tolerance. We have discussed some basic concepts like concept of interchangeability, concept of selective assembly and some basic terminology related to limits, widths and tolerance. So in this session, we will discuss the different types of tolerance and different types of fits like clearance fit, interference fits and transition fit. So what do you mean by tolerance? So tolerance is nothing but permissible variation on a dimension is called as tolerance, or it is also defined as tolerance is difference between upper limit minus lower limit is called as tolerance. So why tolerance is given? Already I told you in the last class, since it is very difficult to produce component to exact size and then some permissible variation on dimension is given. So because of human limitations like lack of interest, lack of skill and lack of experience, and machine limitations like vibration and tool wear, and material limitations like variation in density, composition. So because of these three limitations, it is very difficult to produce component to exact size and hence tolerance is given. Now let us consider an example. Consider a shaft of diameter 40 mm. Okay, here some permissible variations on this dimension is given. Now, from this diagram, the upper limit which is equal to 40 plus 0.05 which is equal to 40.05, lower limit which is equal to 40 minus 0.05 which is equal to 39.95. Now, tolerance which is given by difference between upper limit and lower limit, that is 40.05 minus 39.95, that is 0.1 mm is the tolerance. So this is all about the tolerance. Next, coming to types of tolerance. So mainly we have unilateral tolerance and bilateral tolerance. So what do you mean by unilateral tolerance? Okay, here from this diagram we can observe that this is the zero line or basic size. From this diagram, okay, this is unilateral tolerance. So this is also unilateral. So before that, first let us discuss what do you mean by tolerance zone. Okay, tolerance zone nothing but the zone between upper limit and lower limit which is called as tolerance zone. Okay, here this is the tolerance zone. If the tolerance is given only one side of basic size, is called as unilateral tolerance. Okay, here from this diagram we can observe that tolerance is given only on one side of basic size. Okay, here also tolerance is given only on one side of basic size. Here also tolerance is given only on one side of basic size. These are all the example for unilateral tolerance. Tolerance is only given on one side of basic size. Okay, that means tolerance zone lies above zero line or below zero line. Tolerance zone lies either above zero line or below zero line. So these are all the example for unilateral tolerance. Observe here, for 40 plus 0.02 plus 0.01. Okay, here the tolerance zone lies above zero line or below zero line. Okay, here 40 plus 0.02 minus 0.00, 40 minus 0.01 minus 0.02. If the tolerance is given only on one side of the basic size, only one side of basic size, this is the basic size, only one side of basic size is called as unilateral tolerance. Coming to bilateral tolerance, if the tolerance is given on either side of the basic size, okay, here this is the basic size, tolerance is given on either side of the basic size is called as bilateral tolerance. Okay, here the tolerance zone lies on either side of the zero line or basic size. So these are all the example for bilateral tolerance. Say 25 plus or minus 0.02 or 25 plus 0.02 or minus 0.01. If the tolerance is given on either side of basic size, is called as bilateral tolerance. Okay, here the tolerance zone lies on either side of the basic size. Okay, here the tolerance is given only on one side of the basic size. So tolerance zone lies either above zero line or below zero line. So this is the example for bilateral tolerance, 40 plus or minus 0.05. So this is all about the types of tolerance. Okay, so next we will discuss the concept of fits and different types of fits. So what do you mean by fit? So fit nothing but degree of tightness or looseness between two mating components when they are assembled. So fit is defined as the degree of tightness or looseness between two mating parts when they are assembled. It's called as fit. Now, so we have three types of fit: clearance fit, interference fit and transition fit. So what do you mean by clearance fit? So clearance fit, a fit that provides a clearance or a gap between shaft and hole when they are assembled is called as clearance fit. Interference fit, a fit that provides an interference between shaft and hole when they are assembled is called as interference fit. Transition fit, a fit that provides either interference fit or clearance fit when they are assembled is called as transition fit. Now, to obtain a clearance between shaft and hole, what is the condition? The size of the hole must be greater than size of the shaft. To obtain the interference fit between shaft and hole, what is the condition? Size of the shaft must be greater than size of the hole. Now, in this diagram, let us write the maximum clearance and minimum clearance. So, the maximum clearance, already I told you, clearance is nothing but a gap between hole and shaft. Now, okay, here this is called maximum clearance and this is called as minimum clearance. This is the upper limit of hole and this is the lower limit of hole. This is the upper limit of shaft and this is the lower limit of the shaft. Now, by using these limits, so we can write the maximum clearance and minimum clearance. Maximum clearance is equal to the upper limit of hole. Observe here, upper limit of hole minus lower limit of shaft. So upper limit of hole and minus lower limit of shaft. This is lower limit of shaft, so we will get the maximum clearance. So when the upper limit of hole greater than the lower limit of shaft, so then we will get the maximum clearance. So minimum clearance, which is equal to, this is the minimum clearance from this diagram, lower limit of hole minus upper limit of shaft. This is the minimum clearance. So minimum clearance, but this is the upper limit of shaft, this is the lower limit of hole. Therefore, minimum clearance is equal to lower limit of hole minus upper limit of shaft. Maximum clearance is equal to upper limit of hole minus lower limit of shaft. Example for clearance fit: shaft rotating in a bearing. Coming to interference fit, a fit that provides an interference between shaft and hole is called as interference fit. So to get an interference fit, the size of the shaft must be greater than size of the hole. Then how assembly is done? Okay, here assembly of shaft with hole is done by pressure or heat expansion. Since okay, here we do not have any gap or clearance, therefore assembly is very difficult. Therefore assembly is done by pressure or heat expansion. Example: cylinder liners in engine cylinders. Cylinder liners and engine cylinders, they do not have any clearance or gap. And bearing bushes. Now, to obtain maximum interference, so this is the upper limit of shaft and this is lower limit of shaft. This is upper limit of hole and this is lower limit of hole. Now, let us write the maximum interference. Maximum interference is equal to upper limit of shaft minus lower limit of hole. This is minimum interference, which is equal to lower limit of shaft minus upper limit of hole. So once again I will going to explain. This is the maximum interference and this is the minimum interference. This is maximum interference, this is the minimum interference. Maximum interference, which is equal to upper limit of shaft minus lower limit of hole. Minimum interference is equal to lower limit of shaft minus upper limit of hole. Minus upper limit of hole. Now coming to transition fit. Transition fit means a fit which provides either interference fit or clearance fit is called as transition fit. Sometimes it provides clearance fit and sometimes it provides interference fit. So when we will get clearance fit, when we will get interference fit, we have condition. So when upper limit of hole greater than lower limit of shaft, when upper limit of hole greater than lower limit of shaft, this is the lower limit and this is the upper limit of hole. So this is, so we will get the clearance fit, means a small gap exists between shaft and bearing. So shaft and hole. Now interference, this is the interference. So we will get an interference fit when lower limit of hole lesser than the upper limit of shaft, or upper limit of shaft greater than lower limit of hole, then we will get the interference. So this is the interference. So interference fit So will be obtained when the lower limit of hole lesser than the upper limit of the shaft. This is the upper limit of the shaft. And clearance fit is obtained when upper limit of hole greater than the lower limit of shaft. This is the upper limit of hole. This is the upper limit of hole greater than the lower limit of the shaft. We will get the clearance fit. Now from this diagram we can observe one more point. So observe here, in the case of clearance fit, this is hole tolerance and this is the shaft tolerance. Which one is higher, hole tolerance or shaft tolerance? In case of clearance fit, hole tolerance is higher than the shaft tolerance. That means to obtain a clearance between shaft and hole, the hole tolerance must be greater than the shaft tolerance. Observe here, in case of interference fit, this is the shaft tolerance zone and this is hole tolerance zone. To obtain interference fit, the shaft tolerance zone must be greater than or higher than the hole tolerance zone. Okay, here the shaft tolerance zone higher than the hole tolerance zone. In case of clearance fit, hole tolerance zone is higher than the shaft tolerance zone. But in case of transition fit, both hole tolerance and shaft tolerance overlap, partially overlapped or completely overlapped. So this is all about the different types of fits. So fit nothing but the degree of tightness or looseness between two mating parts when they are assembled is called as fit. So mainly we have three kinds of fit: clearance fit, interference fit and transition fit. To obtain clearance fit, the size of the hole must be greater than the size of the shaft. To obtain interference fit, the size of the shaft must be greater than the size of the hole. And in case of transition fit, it may provide either clearance fit or interference fit. So clearance fit, example for clearance fit, shaft rotating in a bearing. So example for interference fit, liners in engine cylinder and also bearing bushers. And this is the condition for maximum clearance and minimum clearance, and here also this is the condition for maximum interference and minimum interference. So the next topic, systems of fit. So we have discussed types of fits: clearance fit, transition fit and interference fit. Now so we are discussing systems of fit. Okay, here we have two systems, hole basis system and shaft basis system. So what do you mean by hole basis system? So in hole basis system, the size of the hole is kept constant and different fits are obtained by varying the size of the shafts. Here in case of shaft basis system, the size of the shaft is kept constant and different fits are obtained by varying the sizes of the hole. In this system, it is easier to vary the size of the shaft, but in this system, it is difficult to vary the size of the holes. So this system is represented by capital H and this shaft basis system is represented by small h. Now in hole basis system, the lower deviation of hole which is equal to 0, that is the lower limit of hole is considered as basic size. In case of shaft basis system, the upper deviation of shaft is equal to 0, that is upper limit of shaft is equal to basic size. Now, this hole basis system is commonly used in mass production system as it is convenient and less costly to make holes because standard drills and reamers are available. So this system is commonly used in mass production system as it is convenient and less costly to make correct size holes because standard drills and reamers are available. But here this system is not suitable for mass production system. So as this system is inconvenient and costlier to make holes of different sizes. Okay, here we are supposed to produce the holes of different sizes. So that's what is time consuming, inconvenient and costlier. But in this system, okay, here the size of the hole is kept constant. Therefore this system is convenient and less costly to make hole of correct size. Since standard drills are available, standard reamers are available. But here in case of shaft basis system, we are supposed to produce different sizes of holes. So that's why this system is not suitable for mass production system. So this is all about hole basis system and shaft basis system. Okay, here in case of hole based system, the size of the hole is kept constant and different fits are obtained by varying the size of the shaft. Okay, here I am varying the size of the shaft. Therefore, I will get the different fits. Like here, so this is example for clearance fit, transition fit, and so this one is interference fit. Here also, the size of the shaft is kept constant and different fits are obtained by varying the size of the holes. Okay, this is clearance fit, transition fit, and interference fit. So this system is hole based system is represented by capital H, and this shaft based system is represented by small h. Here the lower deviation of hole is 0, here upper deviation of hole is 0. In this system it is easier to vary the shaft size, but in this system it is difficult to vary the hole size. Okay, here it is suitable for mass production system, it is not suitable for mass production system as it is inconvenient and costlier to make holes of different sizes. Okay, next one, plane gauges. So these are all the classification of plane gauges. So you just go through the classification of plane gauges. So in the syllabus we have only limit gauges. So what do you mean by limit gauges? So limit gauges are commonly used in the industries. So limit gauges will not measure the actual dimension. Limit gauges are used to check whether the component has been manufactured within the specified limit or not, or within the tolerance or not. So we know that we have two limits, upper limit and lower limit. So therefore, two limit gauges are required. The one gauge is called as go gauge and another gauge is called as no gauge. For complete acceptance of component, the go gauge should pass through the hole or passes over the shaft. And at the same time, the no gauge should not pass through the hole or pass over the shaft. So this is about limit gauges. So limit gauges are commonly used in the industries, but they will not measure the actual dimension. Limit gauges are used to check whether the component has been manufactured within the specified limit or not. If the component is manufactured within the specified limit, then part is accepted. If the component is not manufactured within the specified limit, then the component is rejected. Therefore, limit gauges have two ends. First one, go gauge. Second one, no go gauge. So, example for limit gauges, we have plug gauge, ring gauge and snap gauge. Now here first let us discuss the plug gauge. Figure shows plug gauge. Okay, here we have already I told you we have, so okay, here we need two ends in order to check accept a part. Okay, here figure shows plug gauge. Here this is hole, this is the hole tolerance. Now the go plug gauge corresponds to the lower limit of the hole and no go plug gauge corresponds to the upper limit of the hole. For acceptance of part, the go end plug gauge should pass through the hole and no go end of the plug gauge should not pass through the hole. So then only we can accept the part. That means the part is manufactured within the specified tolerance. So this is the good part when this condition is satisfied. Suppose if part is manufactured oversized, then both go and no go end plug gauge so pass through the hole. When both go plug gauge and no go plug gauge so pass through the hole, then it is indicated that the part is oversized. Undersized, both go and no go plug gauge will not pass through the hole, then this condition indicates that the part is manufactured in undersized. So finally, in conclusion, so the part to be accepted when go end plug gauge should pass through the hole and no go plug gauge should not pass through the hole. So then only we can accept the part. And remaining in two conditions, okay, in the oversized part and undersized parts are rejected since these two parts are not manufactured within the specified tolerance. So this is about go plug gauges. So go plug gauges are commonly used to check the hole diameter, whether the hole diameter is within the specified tolerance or not. So, and we have different types of plug gauges. So, these are the different types of plug gauges: single-ended plug gauges, double-ended plug gauges, and progressive-ended plug gauges. So, figure shows the different types of plug gauges. So, next one, ring gauge. So, ring gauges are designed to check the diameter of shaft. So, that means whether the diameter of shaft is within the specified tolerance or not. So, ring gauge consists of a central hole. The hole is accurately finished by grinding and hardening process. The outer surface of the ring gauge is knurled, means it has some diamond shaped pattern for easy handling. Now, so ring gauges, okay, here we have two ring gauges, go ring gauge and no go ring gauge. The two ring gauges are manufactured separately. The go ring gauge corresponds to the upper limit of the shaft, and the no go ring gauge corresponds to the lower limit of the shaft. So, this is about the ring gauges. Now, let us discuss the acceptance of part. The part will be accepted when the go end of ring gauge passes over the shaft, and no go end of ring gauge should not pass over the shaft. Then only the part is considered as a good part. That means the part is accepted. Then in the remaining two cases, suppose if the part is manufactured oversized, then both go and no go end will not pass over this shaft, and hence part is rejected. Suppose if part is manufactured undersized, then both go and no go end will pass over this shaft. So, then only part is rejected. So, therefore, part is accepted only when the go ring gauge passes over the shaft, and no go ring gauge should not pass over this shaft. So, the go end ring gauge should pass over this shaft, and no go end should not pass over this shaft. So, then only the part is considered as good part, or the part is accepted. So, this is about ring gauge. Next one, snap gauge. Snap gauges are used to check the diameter of shaft. So, whether the diameter of shaft is within the specified tolerance or not. Okay, here the diagram shows the snap gauge. So, the go end of snap gauge corresponds to the upper limit of shaft, and no go end of snap gauge corresponds to the lower limit of shaft. Now, let us discuss some different conditions like acceptance of part or rejection of part. So, the part to be accepted when go end of snap gauge passes over the shaft, and no go end of snap gauge will not pass over this shaft. Then only the part is accepted, or part is considered as good. Suppose if part is manufactured in oversize, for oversized part both go end and no go end will not pass over this shaft. For undersized part, both go and no go end will pass over this shaft. So, therefore, for complete acceptance of component, the go end of snap gauge passes over this shaft, and no go end of snap gauge should not pass over this shaft. So, then only we can accept the part. So, otherwise in two conditions, so we will going to reject the part, since the part will be manufactured in oversized or undersized. So, we have different types of snap gauges like double ended snap gauges and progressive ended snap gauges. So, figure shows the double ended snap gauges and progressive ended snap gauges. Next, let us discuss some advantages and disadvantages of limit gauges. So, limit gauges are free from errors, and limit gauges are portable. Then limit gauges do not require any external power supply. Then limit gauges are mainly suitable for mass production. So, limit gauges will not measure the actual dimension, they are just used to check whether the component has been manufactured within the specified tolerance or not. And no need of skilled operator. Already I told you, okay, it does not measure in actual dimension. So that's why here no need of skilled operator. And faster method means it gives the results very quickly. So these are some advantages of limit gauges. Coming to disadvantages, limit gauges are not suitable for larger parts, and it's very difficult to maintain accuracy of limit gauges when the part to be inspected for larger. Next one. So when limit gauges are used, so the wear of limit gauges is the major problem. Means material loss. Wear means material loss. Next one, limit gauges will not measure the actual dimension. So limit gauges, so they do not measure the actual dimension. And last one, limit gauges, each limit gauges has to be made separately because the tolerance zone is different. That's why we need separate limit gauges. So these are the major disadvantages of limit gauges. And what are the materials used for manufacturing of limit gauges? So usually high carbon steel, mild steel, cast iron, and sometimes glass material, and like case hardened steel, surface hardened, and then oil hardened steel and invar materials are commonly used for the manufacturing of limit gauges. So these are all some advantages, disadvantages, and what are the materials used for manufacturing of limit gauges. Thank you.